The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Podcast. It's yet another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, as usual, my name is George Agba, your regular host. And of course, with me here in the studio is our in-house analyst. You all know him, Silas Ezegu.
Welcome today.
And of course, we have a big guest here in the studio. His name is Dr. Abdullahi Mohammed Jabi. He is the Secretary General, International Institute of Professional Security, IIPS. And of course, he's also the Chairman, Campaign for Democracy and Human Rights Advocacy, CSO, Nigeria, North Central Zone. He's also here with us in the studio. You're welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. Well, for the big issue, it is the federal government and security forces stepping up the fight against terrorists and bandits. The rapid-fire approach taken by the federal government and security agencies to combat the growing attacks by terrorists and bandits seems to be paying off. This followed warning that terrorists were planning to attack the FCT, Katsina, Zamfara, Kaduna, Kogi, Lagos, and some other states in the country. And of course, this is coming a few days after President Muhammadu Buhari ordered the military and other security forces to show no mercy to the terror groups. As a result, reports today has it that the military high command has confirmed the arrest of Owo Catholic Church bombers, Owo Catholic Church members, bombers in Ondo State. The arrest, according to the Chief of Defense Staff, CDS, General Lucky Irabo, was made possible by joint operation of all the security agencies. We will start with you. Of recent, the security forces, especially the military, had been hard on the terror groups. We've been hearing series of arrests. And this is coming just when Buhari was saying that the security agency should show no mercy to bandits and terrorists. And it appears that marching orders by the president is paying off. But why must the president wait until when the matter gets worse? Especially the attacks in Abuja after the Kuje prison and the lawmakers, the federal lawmakers raising the alarm and even threatening to impeach the president. We're beginning to see certain kind of results on the part of the security forces.
It's not unexpected because the president, in his wisdom, has been dealing with this terrorist issue with characteristic measures. It is not paying off. Even though his final decisions and body language is clearly defined this time around, you can see the effort of the men and officers of the Nigerian military putting their life forward at the battlefield to ensure that they end this insurgency and insecurity. So it's a welcome development that finally Mr. President who is feeling the pinch at this material time is responding positively because he has been hearing this issue from far distance in rural areas in some states far away from Abuja. But now that the enemy of state are ready to even capture him and made him a very good example, he decided to be who he should be and release clear definition of his body language. And that is accounting for the position commanding officers are taking now to ensure that they go out there to rout those enemy of states. And I say kudos to them for the achievement being recorded. But they should not relax. More work needs to be done. And we must continue as citizens to encourage them with useful information, dissemination of information at the right time, so that they can act actively using their kinetic measures in activities. Secondly, it must not end there. As soon as they are arrested, the issue of trial should not come into place. They should be given summary execution. Summary execution. There should be no mercy. And that's the underlying adjective of Mr. President. So the issue of taking them to prison for trials should not be an issue now. Since you are caught at the scene of crime of that magnitude, it should be summary execution. That's how to reduce their number. People will now deter from it because it's beyond the issue of Boko Haram now or ISWAP. Nigerians who are not employed, graduates, are gradually settled into this act because of lack of livelihood, lack of access to employment, lack of opportunity to livelihood, to exercise their franchise in doing what they should do rightly, using it negatively. So there is domestic terrorism within the Nigerian communities.
Well, Silence, you've heard what the director of International Institute of Professional Security, IPS, has just said. And of course, he said that the president's order that no mercy should be shown to these gory criminals was long in coming. And of course, although he admitted that there are some positive results following the arrest of the attackers on the church in Owo, Ondo State. What do you think about the situation now, especially in the FCT, where recently became a flashpoint for terror activities, leading to government ordering for the closure of schools and.
No, you see, the thing is, if you don't stop your enemy when he's far away, you continue, inching close to your house until he sacks you from the house. And the first law of nature is law of self-preservation. The president has become directly threatened. Those guys have become so emboldened. They didn't just go to the FCT prison here to release their members without the security forces firing one bullet to defend the place. They also attacked his own presidential guards, whose job is to keep Abuja safe. If the president is the governor of Abuja, he just appointed a minister to hold brief for him. And those guys are the ones supposed to guard Abuja, and they attacked them and killed some of them. They now even had the effrontery, the boldness to threaten to kidnap him. So now you can see he has come to his own forecourt. And you now see that the lawmakers also feeling directly threatened. Also, for the first time, moved to impeach the president and gave him 6 weeks to act and went on recess. So that by the time they're coming back and nothing has happened, they come out with red eyes. And he doesn't want to wait for that to play out. It's true that he says he's tired of being the president. Looking forward to go.
He has never said that.
He said he was still looking forward to go.
He's itching to go leave the stage.
Yeah.
After his tenure.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's tenure.
So also see, when somebody has 8 years, has done 7 years, and itching to go, he wants to get out of that place.
I mean, he sounded like somebody who had been overwhelmed.
Yeah. Someone who want to do spending extension, but saying, I want to go. The only thing that you will not have the courage to say, look, I can't do anything. Let me resign. Even if you want to resign, those who are eating money around him will not allow him to resign. So that one is by the side. So he would like to go in a place of glory, whatever glory is left of him, when it's time. So he wouldn't like these smokers to in annoyance, in anger, and of fear of their own safety, kick him out of the place. So I expected that. I said, if you did not act now, then that conspiracy that there is no president there, that the man there is no longer Buhari, people begin to believe it. But he has given, he said, no, show me, no mercy. And that also has a flip side, which is that, okay, has he been giving him the body language or direct order that they should show mercy? And that's why the tools have been strong to go after these people. Well, whenever you see security people talking, security, experts, professionals, retired, they know the capacity of the Nigerian military armed forces. And they can take care of these ragtag boys. They are no mates. Let me look in local parents. They no be mates. That one them on TV. So for them not to take this fight to them, they think that if something is drawing them back, and they have now got some kind of a direct order to go after these people. And we have seen some results. So, it's not the first time I've seen something like that. In the run up to 2025 elections, The elections 2015, sorry, I want to say 2015.
Yeah.
The elections were being threatened by the threats of Boko Haram in the northeast.
Yeah.
So Jonathan had to painfully postpone the election for some weeks and then do a frontal attack on the Boko Haram people and try them. And we had the election.
I think that was the period when they brought in machineries.
So we had the election there without anybody being killed in the process. That also had a flip side. People say, oh, so you could have done this, all this why? You didn't do it, allow them to clean up because you want to do election. You're not doing something quickly that.
Not only that, it
They
deployed
got
all the service chiefs
yes,
to the war front. Yes.
So you say you could do this and all this why, and now allow the people to be running in the place with blood. And they voted against him out of alliance. So all those things are part of the paper. So the president acting now is good. There's also reason people are also saying, oh, so you could have done this in all this while. But like the doctor said, it's commendable. Let us thank God for what we are seeing now. I'm sure that if they can kick these people around, all of us will be safer one way or the other, especially in this FCT.
Well, thank you, Silas. We will actually take a short break for now. And as we do so, we hope that our viewers out there will contribute constructively to the conversation on the big issue. And of course, by the time we're back, we begin to see their contributions come in by way of their comments. Don't go offline. We'll be back in a moment.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Welcome back. We are still on the big issue in Leadership Podcast. And of course, the big issue of the day is federal government security forces fight against terrorists and bandits. Well, Doctor, you heard what Silas said. That, he corroborated what you had said earlier, that the president's directive that the security forces in the country should show no mercy to these daredevil terror groups and bandits could be interpreted, or in another way means all the while the security forces have been treating these criminals with kid gloves. And of course, this is even against within the backdrop of the allegations leveled against the president that he is lenient with his kinsmen, the headsmen, and most. And of course, this the suspicion became more serious when, of recent again, he was accused of being too patronizing to Niger, a country that he had approved about 1.4 billion for the purchase of vehicle in that country. And you know, some of these terror groups are said to be coming from most of this country, like Niger and Chad and the rest. Could we actually look at it from within this backdrop that the president had been showing some lackadaisical attitude towards the fight against terror?
Well, it seems to be so, allegedly, because Mr. President is the last man standing in terms of commanding order to the armed forces. And perhaps maybe he's not properly convinced that the issue at hand is a very serious one. But now that the enemies are getting closer to the seat of power, and making pronouncements that they are going to use him as an example, the chicken should not come home for roasting. He has to act, and this is the right time for him to act. And the service chiefs equally are very, very careful of the implication, not to tag the Nigerian government as committing genocide against the Nigerian people.
Against humanity.
So the human rights community too are there watching with keen interest to ensure that this does not happen. Even in the course of the operation, there are accidental killings that has to do with civilian population in some of these field of operations. I think Mr. President now have demonstrated commitment, and the service chiefs have gotten a clear-cut message that they cannot be held responsible for going excess against the mandates and the rules of engagement. So it's a very early development for us that the kinetic actions and the collaborative effort of all the security agencies is yielding positive results. And then Nigeria will begin to appreciate that Mr. President has woken up from his slumber. With due respect to Mr. President. This is what we expect, and this will account greatly for creating an enabling environment for the electoral body and other security agencies that will be involved in the peaceful conduct of 2023 elections, and Nigeria's electorate to have hope in the system. Because the fear have always been with heightened insecurity here and there, and even in the seat of power where the president resides, it means that election may not likely take place. But with this renewed hope now by the men and officers of Nigerian Armed Forces and the directive of Mr. President, that is clear-cut directive, not the expectation of reading his body language. I think we are going to go far. Yes. And make sure that we block those enemies of states to look.
Most Nigerians think the president's moves, his sudden rapid fire approach stems from the recent threat by the National Assembly lawmakers to impeach him if he does not take the issue of insecurity serious and put up measures that will contain the terror groups. Although most Nigerians too have argued that those lawmakers who were just being selfish in saying that, because they're not doing it out of patriotism, that yes, as representative of the people, considering the killings in various states and communities, remote communities, all the while there have been killings in all the communities in Niger, Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, and the rest. They had not come out to say we will impeach you if you don't take, if you don't come. Now it was because the terror groups seem to have come to the Federal Capital Territory.
Yes, it is an ego thing, and it's unfortunate that our representative could wait all this while to arrive at these unpleasant pronouncements, which cannot even hold water in the first place, because the proponents of this idea of impeachment could not have the buy-in of other senators or other honorable members of the House. And you need to consult widely. He has 1 year to go. So what are you impeaching him for? The insecurity didn't start with him. It's not even going to end with him. So it is an afterthought to serve their service interest, because they will be the first casualty, because they reside within the same environment with him. But Mr. President has a shield protection they don't have. Do they have policemen or army that is guiding them? That is why they are putting to raise the issue of impeachment. It is raised out of selfishness. But nevertheless, it's better that it comes now than never, because everybody will be on their toes. We have the legislative arms now putting more pressure. We have Mr. President putting the executive pressure from the other end, and we have the military too doing their best. They've been equipped with what they needed. But what they should look for more to win this war, it cannot be won on the front line of kinetic measures or operations, as it were, on the field. They should look for other countermeasures within the ambits of their operation to see how they can break through this enemy of state and bring them to reckoning.
Thank you very much. That brings me to the recent or the current security measures being put in place in the FCT to check against these bandits and terrorists. Silas, in the past few weeks, we've been seeing serious traffic gridlock caused by military checkpoints, where at night they block and you see cars lining up especially from the road leading to Nyanya and Kefi and Maraba axis. There are, I think, about 3 security checks now. After passing the first, you meet the second set of soldiers mounting another roadblock. This, at the end of the day, will congest vehicles, which is actually risky because those terrorists might even want to take the advantage
Of course.
to bomb those places where those vehicles are lined up and still cause the same kind of casualties. The military, the security forces say they are checking against. And you see, a doctor has actually spoken about kinetic measures and other measures. I think in this case, don't you think intelligence gathering, getting information and then picking this terrorists is better than beginning to put citizens at more risk by keeping them in traffic at night.
So you see, you have said, well, you said it all. The unfortunate thing is that we are still resorting to applying crude methods in security work. And
I think after this, doctor will have to tell us it's a kind of approach because he was talking about kinetic approach, and I think he has to expatiate on.
So whenever I pass such checkpoints, I feel sorry for the soldiers that are there. So they are not equipped with anything that can help them do the work. In fact, when I was passing there one of these days, the place was so dark that they themselves, the soldiers themselves were at risk. If we had, food bandits among us, they would just pick them out like chickens. You understand?
Yeah.
So there was nothing. You just put a lock there and stand there. Sometimes you look at their face. Sometimes they don't look at their face. They just be waving your palm. It's like people are just doing something perfunctorily. Okay, our guy said we should go and do pretend as if you are doing something. I know there's no real. Well, maybe the one I saw, I didn't see any real checks. I didn't see technology applied. I didn't see them try to identify faces or anything like that. So what are they looking for? So, and when like you said earlier, when you now block it off like this and you have thousands of cars lined up, well, I don't want to say so that it will not give those people ideas. Okay? Because if I passed there, I become jittery and wondering what will happen, what could happen. So I think that as security agents are well trained. When I went to the time I was doing some studies in international relations, and so that most of my classmates were from NDA. They go to school very, very well, very brilliant. I don't know why if they go to all that kind of training, all kind of schooling, and they still think in such rudimental fashion. By now, after 12 years or so fighting terrorism, we've not started to go technology.
It's about 2 decades.
Okay.
12 years.
I'm talking about when program became very manifest. But even then, okay, now everything we saw on television how Israel is taking out Hamas leaders, terrorists, or whatever, one by one. They can just wait for him to finish his meal. They don't want to kill his daughter. By the time he enters his car to drive away, they drop one bomb on his head with a what? With a drone. And we have Nigerians who are even doing drones. So why have you not gravitated to the point of using technology to target these ones and reduce them from the population? Why? Why are we spending all the money for? If you carry a plane and go and throw a bomb in the community, you kill innocent people as well. And they say it's friendly fire. So you can minimize such wastage of human beings and the resources by bringing more precision fighting tools to target the enemy of state and take him out with minimum damage to the environment, both physical environment, human environment, and other resources.
Thank you very much, Cyrus. I think you made the point, Sally. The doctor, you are the Secretary General of International Institute of Professional Security. Rising to that particular kind of position comes with wealth of experience and expertise. You spoke of kinetic approach of course, in tackling the terror groups. I think you have to really expatiate on that kinetic approach. Then secondly, you once called on the National Assembly to review the Constitution and decentralize the security architecture. Yes, because you described the Nigerian Constitution as suicidal because every authority or power is centralized, and that is why every order must come from the center. And you insisted that the security architecture must be decentralized so that a fast police action can be taken as soon as possible. And of course, by implication, what it means is that what you try to say is that the decentralization has to it has to do with giving more powers to the states too. But this actually is coming against the backdrop of the calls by some state governors, like the Benue State Governor, Otom, Samuel Otom, Katsina State Governor, Masari, have all asked their citizens, the indigents of their state, to arm themselves, to buy arms for self-defense. With this kind of call, are you sure that if power is decentralized, I mean, the security architecture is decentralized in the way that the states will now get the state governors will have powers to order security, that should work, because it appears even the state governors are overwhelmed.
I've told you earlier that the state governors do not have power because it's the exclusive lists. So they don't have any power. They are just ceremonial chief security of the states. The commanding authorities is not within their party. Are you getting me now? This decentralization, I mean, we achieve 2, 3 things. 1, efficiency. 2, proper management. And 3 is within the area where those crimes are being committed. So we are not waiting for, like, if there's a crime in Benue now, the commissioner of police have to report to the IG, to wait for the IG body position or policy drive before he can start responding. Time is going. People are dying. But if it's decentralized with a minimal power at their disposal or at the zonal level, they will be able to effectively get into the field and then make sure that the issue is tackled and resolved amicably instead of buying longer time doing nothing. That's what I'm saying on that. But again, we need to appreciate the fact that the war against insecurity is not just for Mr. President alone. It's not only for the light security agencies, when I talk of police, army, navy, and others, DSS, and then the paramilitary. No, we Nigerians must collaborate, and that's the essence of military-civil relation, to give information where necessary. But what we are seeing is that they are even underfunded. There is mismanagement as well in the resources being allocated to them, and then there seems to be collaboration, or what we call connivance, among some of them with the enemy of state. And when you have all this playing out, it becomes very difficult to know how to fight it. You saw what happens to Colonel Abu Ali in his 8 days and how he has to give up the way. Colonel Abu Ali now from Kogi. So it is as a lot of connivance that we have to lose that active young Nigerians for brilliant performances against the enemy of state. So we need to scale up equipment of Nigerian police and withdraw the army from playing the role of Nigerian police. We need to recruit and recapitalize equipment. We need to motivate them. We need to look into their welfare to ensure that when you are on the job, you are ready to give your life for the states true to time. And the state, in turn, is ready to compensate as of when necessary if the unexpected happens. Not for them to lose their breadwinners 2, 3 years. They are still in the field struggling to see how pension and gratuity will be collected. It's not good enough. So we must improve managerial efficiency. We must improve operational efficiency. We must capitalize equipment and make sure that they are used. The other day, I'm aware during the time there is a large money budgeted for CCTV camera for FCT. But what do we have? The Chinese who had the contract didn't supply the equipment. They only put what we can call as a dummy structures. Because when they came to investigate with journalists to see the functionality of the CCTV cameras and what have you, CCTV cameras and what have you, there was nothing there to show for it. So we need to be very decisive and be disciplined in our financial prudence and management to ensure that when contracts are given out, there are supervisions, monitoring, and then it's tested to have been what you paid for. There is value for it.
Thank you very much, Doctor. This is where we'll be drawing the curtain for today's edition of The Big Issue. And of course, I thank you, our viewers, there for keeping tab with us. And of course, our very, very special guest, Dr. Abdullahi Mohammed Jabi, Secretary General, International Institute of Professional Security, and Chairman, Campaign for Democracy and Human Rights Advocates, CSO Nigeria, North Central Zone. Thank you for being with us. And of course, our in-house analyst, Silas, for addressing the big issue the way it should be. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of this program. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.